Hello world of YouTube, and welcome to another episode of Viral's Movie Reviews, where I review movies that you guys suggest I go to the movies and see, or I feel like discussing. And today, we're going to be breaking down the weirdly cobbled together movie that is extremely wicked, shockingly evil, and vile. The Ted Bundy, Zac Effron film, directed by Joe Berlinger, also starring Lily Collins, featuring Kea Soderlario and John Malkovich, with a weird James Hetfield cameo. This film was very, very odd, and not like in a fun way. So the trailers for this film were weird because they seem like a direct-to-DVD film from the 2000s. Which is interesting because, like, around the time the trailers for this dropped, we were in kind of this weird Ted Bundy resurgence because his Netflix documentary had come out. And lo and behold, this film also ended up on Netflix, which I'm not surprised because the editing in the trailer and the way it was put together just felt cheap. And the final product feels a little better, but not a tremendous amount. And on top of that, the direction this film takes is very strange. So, the cast in this is alright, but I don't like the way that this movie frames Ted Bundy. Like, I don't appreciate the angle that they took with his portrayal. I get that it might have been how some of the world viewed him, but I didn't like that because we actually know the type of person he was, given his final days, it feels a little disingenuous to frame him in the same way. You know, Zac Effron plays him like he's this kind of romantic lead, and it kind of takes the angle throughout the entire film that he's innocent. Until, like, the very end of the film, and I don't know, it's a weird angle to take, and I feel like it's very disrespectful to the victims of his heinous crimes. Everything from how the world around him is portrayed, to how Lily Collins' character is portrayed, and even the other woman that he marries later in life, Carol Ann Boone's character is portrayed. It's just all very weird. Like, I didn't enjoy it. I think the actors do a well enough job, except for John Malkovich. He seems kind of asleep at the wheel, which is weird for him because he's a very talented actor. They do a fine enough job. Like, Zac Effron is believable as Ted Bundy. He does a great job. And I like the angle that Lily Collins' home life becomes. I like that they do pay a lot of time with her, and that her story is just as important as Ted's. I love the introduction of Haley Joel Osment's character. I like that the world around her evolves as she seemingly stays stuck in this one stage of her life, you know, and the world is trying to get her to catch up with them. Another actor whose performance I actually also enjoyed was Jim Parsons as the lawyer who was against Ted in Florida. I thought he was really strong in the scenes that he was in. Again, just the framework around Ted Bundy and the murders is just very strange. The editing in this movie feels off. Scenes either go on for too long or feel like they're cut a little short. It's got, some scenes have the editing of a trailer when they're, like, supposed to convey the progression of a scene. It's just awkward. The movie has this very herky-jerky pacing that makes it feel longer than it actually is. Like, the movie is only, like, 108 minutes. It feels a lot, it feels like 20 minutes longer than that because of how weird the editing in this movie is. And yeah, I didn't really enjoy this. I watched this out of some morbid curiosity because I did not like the trailer, the initial trailer that dropped for it, and I didn't have the highest of hopes for it. But you never know. You know, something else could have come from this. That trailer could have been just a really bad trailer, and the movie could have been great. Unfortunately, I don't think it is. I think this movie is pretty friggin' terrible, and I didn't really care for it. I liked the end of the movie because I liked that they eventually spun it around to show that, hey, he really is a fucked up dude. But I hate that it spent the whole movie building up to that because we know who Ted Bundy is. You know, I read a review after I'd watched the movie that said this would have been really interesting if it wasn't based on real events, and I would agree with that. Like, if you made a movie like this that had nothing to do with real events and it just seemed very coincidental until the very end of the film, that's amazing. But because it's Ted Bundy and you frame him like he's an innocent man throughout the whole movie, it just feels very weird and not good. Yeah, those are my thoughts on this movie. I'm gonna give it a 3. I really didn't like a lot. I didn't like my experience with this film. I think the most redeeming factor in this is Zac Efron's performance because he's great in it. You know, he does a great job, and the casting choices in this film are really good. The actors shine. Just the material they're given and the way that it's framed and everything other than that is not very good. I wouldn't recommend watching this. There's plenty of other serial killer based movies, both real, based on real events, and fictional that are much better than this. And those are my thoughts on it. What did you think of this film? Have you seen it? If you haven't, like I said, proceed with caution or really just kind of avoid it in general. But I'm going to get out of here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the support. I have been Viral Rack. You guys have good days, lots of situations. And I'll see you another day.